Warning, this show has outdated attitudes, language, and views which may cause offense today. If you don't like it, suck it.
This video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
In the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the unknown plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him
Stone Cold Loki.
Humanity, look how far you've fallen.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki, and with me today is the one, the only, the beautiful Reina Creole. How are you doing this morning, Reina?
I am doing awesome, Loki, and excited as always to come on your show. And welcome to you guys in the chat. I love being on this side every other week.
And I've got, of course, my co-host Thursdays and Fridays, the wonderful Dave Bob, the rooster in the hen house. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really great. And good morning, Valhalla.
Good morning, Valhalla. Good morning, Purple Valkyrie and Samantha Joe, Psycho Dwarf 9, Dee Dee Myers, Mark the Infinitely Tired, Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches, Jennifer Kunkel. Good morning. Welcome, Jennifer. Jester of Sin, Psycho Dwarf 9, Butterflies. Good morning, Captain Trek, Trinoculus P. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Ed Dega, Outlaw, the Doctor of Disaster and Destruction. Me and Ed Dega had a great show last night doing the spooky tales on 7 Kinds of Mischief. Good morning, everyone. Darth Haster, Gun Bunny. How is everybody doing out there this morning? Yes, we are back to the Mandalorian. We are going to cover the last 4 episodes of last season. We have got let's see, the Gunslinger, the Prisoner, the Reckoning, and Redemption. And I enjoyed these. Except for the Prisoner. I thought the Prisoner was stupid. But that was my own personal, like, how can they be so dumb? How can these people be so dumb and act so dumb? They even had a Game of Thrones alumni on the Prisoner. The Twilight girl was she played Tonks in Harry Potter.
Really?
Yeah, that's Tonks. The Twilight girl is Tonks from Harry Potter.
I did not know that was her.
Yep.
And I loved her as Tonks, but in this role, not so much.
Nymphadora? Yeah, don't call me Nymphadora.
Yeah. And her hair changed color.
Yep. I hated that they never got more into her character. You get into Lupin. They ended up getting married and have a kid, and they barely scratched the surface of that in the Harry Potter movies. But the books, of course, the books have more.
Yeah, the books I have on Audible, so I'm getting through the Order of the Phoenix right now, and I love it so much more than the movie, because as the movies progressed, you could tell that there were just blocks of stuff that was missing.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to go back and read the book because I know I'm missing a lot of context here.
Not to go off on a Harry Potter rant, but I avoided the books. I wanted to see the movies. I was not a fan originally, and I ended up watching them with my kid. And I was like, okay, you know, these aren't bad. Okay, I'll give Harry Potter a break. These are good movies. They're good movies. And I got to Order of the Phoenix. And of course, you know what happens to, and that's my favorite character in the whole series. Sirius Black is my favorite character. And it gets to the part in the movie. I'm seeing this in the theater, like opening night. I took off work. And that back then I was working at a prison. So that was like pulling teeth to get a night off. Right. So I take off work. I'm there with the wife, and we're watching this movie, and they get to the part where he's at the train, and the guy in front of me turns to his girlfriend, wife, whatever, and goes, he dies in this movie. And I'm like, and I look at my wife, and she's like looking at me like, because she read the books, and I was like, you son of a bitch.
Punch you in the throat.
Oh, I was so pissed. So I had the books. I just hadn't read the books because I didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
So I was like, screw it. I'm reading the books. I'm going to read Order of the Phoenix because I just watched the movie, and I'm going to go from there. And I hated that, but I wasn't going to have anything spoiled again.
Well, I never watched any of the movies or read the books, so I guess there's that.
Oh, but yeah, I was so pissed. I would not. After that, I wasn't going to wait. I felt bad because I read the Lord of the Rings books when I was a kid, and none of my friends did. Stupid Lord of the Rings. And then the movies come out, and they're like, oh, these are the best movies ever. What happens? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell y'all what happens next. But you read the books, right? I'm like, yeah. Why won't you tell us? Because you want to wait and see what happens. I hate that I know what's going to happen. And I hate that so I didn't read the Harry Potter books. I was like, I want to watch the movies. I'll watch the movies, then I'll go back and I'll read the books.
That's like with Lord of the Rings. I never read Lord of the Rings because I wasn't into fantasy. I saw the Hobbit cartoon. I like that. But I knew how prominent Lord of the Rings was or is in fantasy literature. So it just wasn't to my interest. But then the movies came out, and I love movies. So that I had to sit and watch, and I loved watching those. Don't know if I'm going back and reading the books, but I did love the movies. I really did.
That first book, half of that first book is Lost in the Woods. And people rave about those books, and yes, I know they're good books, but the first half of Fellowship is Hobbits Lost in the Woods. Oh, it's like forever. You know, they spend all of 10 minutes getting to Bree, and it's like that's half the book right there. Is them just getting to Bree.
Oh man.
And Mark Dambley tired. My dad spoiled Empire Strikes Back for me. He read the book before we all saw the movie. 9-year-old Mark was destroyed. Oh man.
Wow.
They were originally going to do Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It wasn't going to
really?
be Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
George
liked
Lucas.
that book.
Yeah, George Lucas contracted Alan Dean to write that book because he didn't know if he would have enough money to make a full-fledged movie. So that was going to be kind of a very cheaply made movie if he made it.
Yeah, I remember scraping up lunch money to buy that book from a bookstore. And I absolutely loved it. It's loved reading that.
you could get some really, really good deals back in the day. I remember like always frequenting half price books. I was like, that was like my go-to place. I got D&D stuff from there. I got all kinds of stuff from there back in the day. I've got the original, the little, what are they? Oh man, I can't think of the name of the metal. They're little like D&D figures, metal D&D figures, only like a half an inch. Pewter.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about because I had I've seen those, and friends of mine who played D&D a lot, they would collect those and they talk about those.
Yeah, they were the little metal pewter figures. Anyway, we're here to talk about Mandalorian.
Yes.
Of course, we went right off the rails right off the beginning. The Gunslinger is the first episode we're going to look at, and it says, on a familiar desert planet, the Mandalorian helps a rookie bounty hunter who is in over his head. I thought this episode was okay. I think I gave it like a 6. I'm not like 100% sure, but I didn't like the guy that played the gunslinger. I remember seeing this, and who is this guy? Jake Cannavale as Toro Calican.
Yeah, he had a very disagreeable character. Ming-Na Wen, though, she played a very good part.
Yes,
I did like her. But the other guy, the gunslinger, I didn't feel like I was made to care enough about who he was. As far as I was concerned, I'm just like, he's some red shirt. You can get rid of him. But there was nothing interesting about him at all.
The character was kind of cardboard.
It was no dimension, no
nuance.
Exactly, no nuance, nothing that made him colorful, enough to stick out. It wasn't like say, for example, Mando rolled in and he's just like, yeah, I know who the snot-nosed kid is. Something to give us some kind of reason why we should care about this guy. But that didn't happen. It was just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. I'm hungry. Yeah, you're Mandalorian, right? No. But kind of like Loki, like you, it just, the only time that I woke up during this episode was when Ming-Na Wen. Yes, Justin, they did. They just went there for fan service. That was it. Because if it wasn't on Tatooine, I don't think anyone really would have cared to watch this.
No, and I remember us joking. I swear I remember us joking that he that Disney went outside and found this guy like rummaging through the dumpster, and we're like, hey, do you want to part in our show? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And bam, he was on the Mandalorian. And it was like, who is this guy? Where'd he come from?
They probably pulled him from Central Casting.
Yeah.
Do you know what central casting is? I always use this term. I'm sorry. Do you know what central casting is?
No.
Okay.
Please.
Central Casting is this big agency in LA. They have a couple other ones around the country where, you need some background actors or somebody to maybe say one line or something like that. That's where you go, Central Casting. And it's very homogenous. What are you looking for? You're looking for your standard jock. You're looking for your standard dumb blonde. You're looking for, somebody who looks like they work on Wall Street, whatever. That's what they cast. So they cast to the look. They don't cast to like a depth of character type. So when the joke is in Hollywood, so-and-so looks like they're straight out of Central Casting. This guy in the Gunslinger looks like they pulled him straight out of Central Casting.
There you go.
And Mark said, no, Loki, that was me. And I got arrested. Mark was the one going through the dumpster.
Oh, I kind of like how they caught Robert Downey Jr. back in the day.
I thought that was, what's his name? Nick Nolte.
So many of them are rummaging in the dumpsters in Los Angeles. It's something else.
And just improper, they hire extras and you can get your SAG card after a while.
That's right.
Yeah, I forgot about her. Yes.
Oh, yeah, she was horrible. The guy,
Oh, yeah.
the woman who looked like Richard Simmons.
Yes. And Soul Assassin, yeah, Taro came off as a rookie bounty hunter just starting out and looking for an easy payday. I did like the Sand People. It's cool seeing the Sand People on top.
Oh yeah, they're the Sand People. I've always liked them because they were very ominous. Like when Obi-Wan says, Sand People always walk single file to hide their numbers.
Yep.
Like, okay, I kind of like that. And in the prequel trilogy, or during the pod race, they're just out there just shooting at them,
Yeah.
So you can tell these dudes are, they're pretty ominous. They don't want anybody messing with them, and they have no problem messing with other people who they feel violate their space.
Did you ever play the Knights of the Old Republic games back in the day?
I did not, but I had friends who played it.
Okay, there's a prevailing theory. It's a weird theory, right? In that game, there's a way where you can like become friends with the Sand People, and their lore teller, their like history teller, because nothing is written down, everything is told verbally.
Okay.
Talks about how Tatooine used to be a green world with oceans and cities, and that their people went out into the stars, and this race of aliens came and enslaved them all, and all their people spread out through the galaxy, right? They were spread throughout the whole galaxy. They were picked up on Tatooine, and all their people were spread throughout the galaxy. And then when they rose up in defiance of their overlords, which some people assume are the Hutts, the planet was glassed. It was, and their people went into caves and lived in the caves, and that's how they stayed safe. And then once all that was over, they came back out. Some people theorized back in the day anyway that Tatooine used to be Earth. Tatooine is Earth, and all human beings in the galaxy come from Tatooine. I know it's a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, right? But, and at least that's what it says at the very beginning all the time. But there were people back in the day that were like, no, Tatooine was Earth, and all human beings came from Earth, and then Earth became Tatooine when they got destroyed, and the Hutts enslaved everybody. And it was a weird, weird theory back in the day, all because of Knights of the Old Republic, because you hear this story in that game.
Wow, I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah,
that's an interesting twist. That's an interesting theory.
I'm sure you can hop on YouTube and look up KOTOR, Sand People Storyteller, Sand People Lore Teller, Tusken Raider. You can do something like that and listen to that entire story, because HK is the one that translates all this. And he's like, can't we just kill him, Master? Do we really have to listen to this? Can't we just blast the meat bags and we don't have to listen to any of this? Oh, really? Soul Assassin. I did not know that. The comic Dawn of the Jedi.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out.
I did not know that. Thank you, Soul Assassin. I never read the Star Wars comics. I
have a couple that I haven't read for like longer than I care to mention. So I have like a stash of them that I have to go back. I think I have number 2, and then it jumps to, I think, like number 50 that I have on up. And I'm looking forward to getting some time to sit down and read those comic books, because those comic books were my lifeline between movies.
Yeah, it was the books for me. It was always the books. I loved the books. I've got everything from the Tales from Mos Eisley, the Bounty Hunter books, all the way up until right before Disney bought them. I've got them. Almost all of them I have on hardback. There's a few I only have on paperback, but I got all of the first edition hardbacks as soon as they came out. I was insane about getting that. I had a subscription with the like sci-fi book club, and back when you had to like mail them back books. I don't want this book.
It sucks. I don't want it.
I ordered my Star Wars book, damn it. That's what I want. Tales of the Jedi from Dark Horse were my go-to back in the day. The Dark Force, where is it? Dark Force Rising? Was that the one where Palpatine comes back and you find out there's a clone? I had those. I had those when Luke turns to the dark side. Yes, Luke turned to the dark side and took his father's place at the Emperor's side for a short time. And Leia brought him back. That was the coolest thing. It was like, yeah, Leia's pregnant. The Emperor wants the babies. And then like at the end, her and Luke are standing there and this overwhelming force goes through them and takes out the Emperor. And Luke's like, did you feel it? And Leia's like, yes. And he was like, it's the children. Your babies that aren't even born yet. They aided us with the power of the Force. And you're like, wow, damn, that's badass.
And you know, I wish that they would take the storytelling like that, because I had read the only two books I had read, The Courtship of Princess Leia, and somebody lent me Heir to the Empire to read. If they would have plugged into that type of storytelling and dropped it in The Mandalorian, we wouldn't be having the problems that we do now with the show.
No, absolutely not. The Thrawn. Have you gotten a chance to read the Thrawn trilogy?
No, I was one of those people where I just did not have time to sit down and read the books, but most of my friends were reading the books. So I mainly saw the movies instead of reading the books. But I was made very, very well aware, because I had coworkers who were reading these books too. And they'd start talking about which ones they read and this one that they read, and they talk about it. I just didn't have time to keep up with the books.
And yeah, Shockwave, that's why Disney eliminated the extended universe. The books keep us fans through the years. Yes, the books did.
They did.
That's what kept the whole story alive.
Yeah, and if they have the unabridged versions of the Thrawn trilogy on Amazon, that you can listen to right off their app. If you ever want to go and you don't have time to read it and you just want to listen to them when you can, they have sound effects, they have music, they have good voice talent.
Because I have because that's what I'd started doing, getting them off of Audible. Like I finished up Sacrifice not too long ago, which was flipping awesome. Which was awesome. And why they didn't use Jason Solo for the sequel trilogy is freaking beyond me. I don't get it.
You know, there's like almost 20 of those with in that series, because that's the new Jedi Order series. So Sacrifice is just one piece of a huge puzzle, because I've got all of those on hardback too. I got all those first editions. I love those books.
That one, I was told to start up with that one, and I read that one, and I'm like, what happened to Anakin Solo? I'm like, okay, all right. I have a lot of reading ahead of me.
Yeah, that was during the Yuzong Vong War. Anakin went down during the Yuzong Vong War. Chewie, that so many wonderful characters, and I cried. I'm sitting there reading. I think I was reading it. I was like kicked back in like a garden tub, chilling after work one day, and I'm reading and Chewie. Oh, what happens with Chewie? And I was just like, son of a bitch. Because the way we lose him is, it's heartbreaking what he does. And you're like, well, you had to, but you didn't want him to. And oh man, those books are. But again, we've gone completely off the rails.
Completely off the rails. But yeah, the Gunslinger. Yeah, I slept through that one pretty much.
Yeah,
Dave?
6.
So we've got the Prisoners, and I remember when this came out and I did my review of it. I hated it. I liked the fact that we got Mark Jr. from Sons of Anarchy. I thought that was great. I was all ready, but then everybody else and having, I can never say her name, Natalia, is it Tenna? That's Tonks playing Ixion. It just, you had Clancy Brown as Berg. You had this good cast.
Yeah.
And it fell flat. Except for the very end when he calls in the X-Wings. I
Yeah.
was like,
That was cool. But my whole thing with this episode is I just couldn't believe that as savvy as the Mandalorian is, as notorious as he is known, how he could fall for something like that. It didn't sit right with me. It really didn't.
Dave Bob?
The only thing I liked about the whole show was that damn duplicitous robot.
Well, yeah.
Boy, he was playing everything against the middle.
And you could tell Mandalorian. I did like that about the episode because again and again you're reminded Mando does not like droids at all. He does not get along with droids at all. And it's because it takes you back to the Clone Wars when
Exactly.
the droids took out his family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has definitely got a very hard place in his heart for droids.
Oh yeah. And that I did like because that gives motivation, because I would always, you always hear, no droids, we don't want droids here. And I'm like, what do people have stuff against, against droids?
Yeah.
And then when you get into, droid army and all that stuff, okay, it's like, okay, I can see where that comes from. And for Mando, that's extremely personal. Again, the droid's like exterminating his family pretty much and his planet where it comes from. So it's like, yeah, I get that. So I did like that part. I just didn't, the plot just for this episode just didn't sit well with me. It's just something just told me that Mando should have figured that out much quicker than he did.
Yeah, the very first time when I started watching it, I was saying to myself, this is not good. Those people are, something shady's going on.
Yeah. And I just couldn't get that he couldn't pick up on that, considering how good of a bounty hunter, that he is.
I forget who wrote this. Was it this episode was written by, or was it the guy that's in the X-Wing? Was it directed by him? I don't remember. I remember at the time I knew exactly who was doing.
That's who wrote the story, I think.
Christopher Yost, yeah. Maybe it was Rick Fumiyawa was the director, and he's the guy. He's the gentleman in the X-Wing at the very end of this episode.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, he's a big Star Wars fan.
Jib Dodgers, who he played, Rick Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa. He's Nigerian American, yeah.
And Deborah Chow is the other one. And Dave Filoni is Trapper Wolf. Yeah, it was them three. Dave Filoni, Rick, and Deborah Chow were the three people in the X-Wings at the end of this. But yeah, Mando gets locked in a cell, and I was just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Again, he's too. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave Bob. I didn't interrupt you.
Go ahead. I was just going to say he's so gullible. It's pathetic.
That's what pissed me off. That's exactly it, Dave Bob. Because Mando, he's extremely savvy. If not, he wouldn't have been so in demand as a bounty hunter. The client would not have personally come at to get him hired. So for him to fall for all of this and not smell that something was wrong, it didn't sit well. I mean, I would have much more respect if they're pulling this stuff and Mando's like, no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. And maybe something personal with the Mandalorian, maybe his own hubris would make him not see something that he should have. I could understand that. But they just made it play to him being just so gullible to just walk straight into this. And I didn't like that.
And we've got a $5 super chat from Psychodorp9. Anyone else think Mando's writing room needs a bet? What's seen the elephant? Oh, yes, I get what you're saying, Psychodorp 9. Yes, sir. And really quick, as fast as we can. Thank you so very much, Psychodorp 9. Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Score!
Go!
There it is! Take your hat off, boy. That's a $1 bill.
Thank you so much, Psychodorp 9. And I know, Reina Creole, you got to drop in just a second. I want to get really quick. I want to get to this next episode because this next episode is a wonderful cast. You've got Pedro, you've got Carl Weathers, you've got Gina Carano, you've got Nick Nolte, you've got Werner Herzog, and then you've got Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. Gus Fring from Breaking Bad comes in as Moff Gideon, and I was like, holy shit.
I love that. That was just from the way that, that TIE fighter came down, and all the engineers like me lost our crap when we saw that, how it landed. And then he comes out like a freaking boss. I love that.
And you can't forget IG-11.
No.
Oh no.
No. And
one of those scenes when the stormtroopers were sitting there with their pistols shooting at the can or whatever, and just all around it, I mean, that's the biggest joke on, stormtroopers can't hit anything.
No, not a freaking thing.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and here comes IG-11.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pissed. He is not happy. He is not happy, not one bit. And the cantina scene I thought was great. You don't think that Werner's going to get, or the client, that's what they call him. You don't think he's going to get, anything's going to happen to him. And Moff Gideon just has him just blast the whole cantina.
Exactly.
So what did you give this real quick before you go? Because I know you got a jet. What did you give like the first season?
The first season, I would say out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. It's like it wasn't abysmal. It wasn't amazing. It had a couple of bright spots, but overall, it could have done better than it did. So 6 out of 10, I'll give it a C.
I know at the beginning I railed on the music. I was like, what the hell is this? We don't even have Star Wars music. But it grew on me to the point that I was like whistling it after I you get used to it and it becomes I thought at the end of the day I thought it was good. What did you think about like the tone of the music? And
the music was okay. Then again, we have to remember we're used to a John Williams score.
Yeah.
And that is like the epitome of soundtrack. So we're used to, like, say, John Williams, Hans Zimmer. That's the kind of soundtrack that I'm used to. So it's like, it was okay. It's kind of like, come on, I need you to hook me. I need you to hook me. I need you to hook me. And I think the further on it got into the season, the better the music got. The person who actually wrote the music, do you know who wrote it?
No, I don't.
Who scores it? The person who scores it is the guy who did the score for Black Panther and the guy who did the score for Tenet. Yes.
Wow.
I forget his name, but that's the guy who does the music.
I did not know that.
So that's him. So he's good. So I think it took him a while to get an idea of the show and the characters. And once, I guess, he got to know who they were, then that translated into his music, which is why I think the music got better further on into the series. But I got to run.
Thank you so much for popping in, Loriana. You are welcome in here anytime at all.
I love it. Absolutely. It was fun.
Have a great day.
Thanks. You too, Dave, Bob. You too, Loki. You guys have a wonderful weekend. You in the chat have an amazing weekend. I'll catch up with you guys on my lunch table show at 12 p.m. Eastern today. Our special guest is going to be Mad Mardigan. So
Mad Mardigan, he is
Mad
making the rounds. He was
Mardigan.
just on here, and he was just on Kai's channel. Hell
Mhm.
yes, Mad Mardigan today
Yep.
on the Reina Creole's lunch table, the official lunch table of the Fandom Menace.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love that you coined that. Bye, everyone. I love seeing you guys. Love hanging out in the chat. I will see you all soon. Bye,
Take care,
guys.
Lorena.
You too.
All right. Wow. We've got episode 7, and we were just talking about the reckoning.
Though the last 2 episodes, kind of in my mind, they're the same episode, just extended. It's pretty much the same story, and I get them confused when I'm sitting there thinking about them. Actually,
Yeah. The last 2 episodes were like, it was like a 2-parter. It should have just been like a 1-parter, but of course they've got a. We were talking about this being like a movie almost. Like they could have done this as a 2-part miniseries. The whole show could have been a 2-part miniseries. If you took the first half and the second half, what, about an hour and a half?
Yeah,
2 hours?
it was kind of. I think the reason that they didn't is it was kind of disassociated in the first part. The first 4 episodes, I don't know if you could actually, tie them into one, but I guess you could. I mean, it just depends on, how the writing would have to do it and the way they'd have to split it up. They might have had to kind of jump around to different scenes than they did, but yeah, I can see how it could have been.
Take care, Lady Mist. You have a great day. And Pod Racing Palpatine says Ludwig Göransson wrote the score. A solid Norse name. It is indeed. Check out his work. I will. Now that Lorena mentioned that, I had no idea he did the score for Black Panther or Tenet. So I am going to have to check out some of his work. I know there's some people in the business because I really love soundtracks. If you saw my vinyl collection, about more than half of it is soundtracks. I've got some good game music. I've got some good soundtracks. I've got a DC collection that would rock your boat, Dave Bob. I've got stuff from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, old stuff. I've got a Superman and Batman radio broadcast, Justice League, all on vinyl. I'm a vinyl nerd.
I think I used to have a lot of vinyl, but it's disappeared over the years.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Latino Slant.
With nothing but vinyl.
Yeah. Latino Slant had the lead singer for oh my Lord, I can't think of it now. Santana on the other day, and I've got a original press first edition Santana 3 from 1971 in my collection, and I've still got the original case. And the reason I know it's a first edition is it does not have the name of the album on the front. All the other editions after that of that album had a name. It either had Santana with 3 Roman numerals on it, or it had Santana in cursive with the number 3 off to the side. This does not have any of that. It's just this Freddy Krueger looking dude reaching his arm out on the cover and with like a space background.
Nice.
Yeah, printed in 1971.
Yeah, I used to have a bunch of old 45s and everything else, not just the albums from back in the 60s and the 70s.
Collecting all that is I love collecting all that. I love getting records. I just got the Doom soundtrack on vinyl, and it's got 2 blood red LPs. Those are absolutely wonderful. Anyway, we're going off the rails again.
Yeah, one more time.
One last time. So at the end of this episode, at the end of The Reckoning, you've got the Mandalorian, you've got Cara Dune and Grief Karga holed up in a cantina, and they're being shot at. And Nick Nolte, who did the voice for Quill, is taken out. He is murdered by stormtroopers on speeder bikes, and the baby, the child, is now in their hands and rushing back to Moff Gideon.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how they hit him when they couldn't hit anything else.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, the speeder bike must have had auto targeting.
Yeah, it must have run over him or something.
Oh, on a programming note, real quick, everyone. The Valkyrie's right at 7 p.m. Central tonight. Tune in for Spooky Story Slumber Party. It's a slumber party. Will there be pillow fights? Purple Valkyrie and Samantha Joe. If you promise pillow fights, I can assure you that we will be there. There has to be pillow fights. So the last episode, Chapter 8, Redemption. The Mandalorian and his allies come to know their true enemy, who already knows much about them. And we've got Pedro Pascal back as the Mandalorian, Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon, Cara Dune, Gina Carano, Carl Weathers back as Grief, Taika Waititi as IG-11, Emily Swallows returns as the Mandalorian armorer.
Yes, boy, and she is bad in that thing.
She is. She absolutely is.
She takes out a whole squad of stormtroopers with a couple of her forge hammers.
Yes, I remember seeing that going, holy shit, I love this chick. I absolutely, positively love it.
It's also when you see the Mandalorian's face for the first time, Pedro, when the IG-11 takes his helmet off, and, he was saying, no living being's ever seen my face. And he says, I'm not alive.
No, Pat Steven, you are not blacklisted. Yes, we can see. I'm wondering if my texts aren't all showing. They might not be. I don't know. I saw one or two of them. If I didn't get you, I am sorry. Loki's Mornings of Mischief, hail to you and Dave Bob. Great vibes today. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I have the chat popped out, but every time I pop to another screen, it disappears. I have to go find it again.
Well, I've got two screens. I've got my chat off to the right on like
I need to get something like that, because I'm sitting here clicking like a daggum wow man.
So you see the Mandalorian.
That was the last episode, Chapter 8, Redemption. That was probably the highlight of the whole series for me. Actually, the last two, 7 and 8, those were just a real high point in the show. And the when he got the jetpack, oh man, there you go. That made it. That made it. And like I said, the back to spray, I think that isn't that what they sprayed his face with or whatever, his head, and IG-11 was kind of making jokes with him, something about his central processing unit was damaged or something.
Yeah.
It actually, it actually was pretty damn funny.
And it showed how much their relationship had come along, that he was comfortable enough to take his helmet off in front of that damn thing.
Let his helmet be taken off, and that he actually trusted a droid as much as he did. I mean, I think he really came to appreciate, IG-11, and especially, what happened at the end when they were in the lava flow.
Yeah.
To get out of the cave.
And Mark, I agree. We should have never seen the Mando's face. There was a lot of drama. I want to bring this up because there were a lot of people that were saying, and we didn't know what was going to happen, that the helmet was going to come off and it was going to be a woman. This was a big thing back then. The helmet's going to come off and it's going to be a woman. Everybody knows that. They know what Kathleen Kennedy's doing. And I hate the fact that I didn't get to throw this out there while Rihanna was on. There is a photo of George Lucas, Dave Filoni, John Favreau sitting there talking on the set, and you see Kathleen Kennedy in the back, and she's got this bitch look on her face. She has got this I'm an annoyed bitch look on her face, and it's because she was in the back of the bus. The boys were up front hanging out, smiling, talking, having a good time, working on the show, and she's in the back with her legs crossed, just like this I'm a bitch look on my face.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, and she was at the kids' table.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yes, Dave Bob. Thanksgiving, and she's at the kiddies' table. She's stuck at the kiddies' table. And and when I saw that, I said, no, there's no way that they're going to take the helmet off and it's going to be a chick. It's Pedro Pascal. You don't hire someone like Pedro Pascal to do a show like this. And then, oops, it's not him. But yeah, there was a bunch of people calling that. And I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that's going to happen. Yeah, get the coffee, Kathy. Purple Valkyrie. Yeah, get the coffee, Kathy. Bring the boys the coffee. We're working. Gesture of sin, removing helmets. Yeah, from when Stallone did Dredd. Yeah, Dredd doesn't take off his damn helmet.
Yeah, he in the comics, he never took his helmet off, ever. And I have a lot of respect for old Carl Urban because he personified it. He didn't take the helmet off. He could act through the helmet.
No, you saw him. You see him put it on, but you never see his face.
Right.
You see him at the very beginning of Dredd. You see Carl Urban put that helmet on, but you never see his face. Not once. You just see the helmet go on, and then it's boom. You know, that's Dredd, and he never takes the helmet off the whole movie. And yeah, taking the helmet off. But obviously it wasn't. It wasn't a woman. You've got Pedro Pascal playing the Mandalorian. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt recently and scuttlebutt is rumors and innuendo, that he had a fight with Dave Filoni and they got into it on the set. He's not coming back. No. When they reported that Pedro Pascal was already home halfway through the filming, he is done with his scenes. He is done with his voice work. He is done with season 2 of The Mandalorian. He was not fired.
The stuntmen do the majority of the work. You know, he does some of it, but the stuntmen are the ones that you actually see on screen more than anything.
Yeah. And that's where Pedro's done. Pedro's done with all his scenes. He's done with what he was going to do. He's done with the voice work. Everything else is up to the stuntmen now. The reason why he was sent back home was because of COVID. Otherwise, he would still be on the set. He would still be talking to Filoni and Favreau. There's nothing epic going on that, like, oh, he's not coming back and he's getting replaced by Cara Dune and yada, 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 yada. None of that's not true. I understand how rumors work. I understand how sources work. I've got a few of my own that contact me and send me stuff. Unless I can absolutely positively nail it down as fact, I'm not going to run with something a source tells me. Unless I can nail it down. Have I talked about rumors before? Yes. I just don't like to. It's just not my thing. I want facts.
Honestly, I'm not real big on the rumors and whatever department, even if they turn out to be true, but because I don't like the spoilers.
No, No, and I'm glad that this episode wasn't spoiled before I ever saw it. I'm glad we didn't know about the helmet thing. I don't think it was a good idea to do that, but you can understand in the context of the show why he took his helmet off in front of IG-11. You can understand, but in the context, I didn't think it was a good idea. Keep the helmet on. Give him an air of mystery. Don't take the helmet off. Don't let anybody see what he looks like. Keep all that going, because right there you've got drama and you've got people talking. Who is it really? Pedro Pascal, or is it somebody else? Are they just using Pedro's voice? So they, what are they doing? And Pedro knows his gunplay too. A lot of the stuff you see with him drawing and him flipping the blaster and all that, and a lot of this, that's him. It's not a stuntman. Because he does know his gunplay. He's practiced. I think it was Kingsman, the second Kingsman movie. You see him do some wild shit in that movie.
Boy,
and that's like,
those were some great movies.
Yeah, and that's like one of his hobbies. He loves Wild Wild West movies. That's why he was so excited when he got the Mandalorian. He's like, Wild Wild West and Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those last two episodes. To me, like I said, that was the highlight of the series, and I am so looking forward to next week when the new ones start. Oh, I am just so ready to see something that I can actually enjoy.
And yeah, Shockwave, shoot that scene from behind so you don't see the face. I completely agree with that. I would have liked that more if they'd have taken the helmet off and you've seen it from behind, never seen his face. I would definitely have lived with that. I would definitely lived with it. So at the end of this episode, IG buys the farm in a lava pit. Mandalorian and Carl Weathers and Cara Dune get away, but the big reveal, the thing that blew everybody away, what connected to the Clone Wars animated series and Rebels was the dark saber. Yes. And if Moff Gideon hunted down Mandalorians and he is the one who was responsible for the purge, then you start to get the idea why he has that. You start to get the idea why he has the dark saber.
Yes, that's, he's a bad guy. I mean, he's no Thrawn, but he is a very bad guy.
He is, and I can't wait to see more of him. That is one of the things
he plays that type of character. I mean, it's just, like you said, Breaking Bad, and also the CEO on The Boys, and this, he does it so well. He's probably going to be typecast, but he does it so well. I don't think he minds.
No, I don't think he's going to mind either. And Shockwave Sabine is going to be pissed. Sabine is going to be played as well by her original voice actress, which is, God, I can't think of her name right now. The woman who played Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica.
Katie Sackhoff?
Yes, Katie Sackhoff is actually going to reprise her role as no, it wasn't Sabine. Was it? It was, I can never think of her name. She was in Clone Wars, and she was a member of Death Watch. Oh, I can't remember her name. Why can I not remember her name? Somebody out there knows. It wasn't Sabine. It was, hold on.
They're going to be bringing a whole lot of new characters in from what I've, heard.
People from the why can I not think of her name? No, it's not Ashley. I'm looking up the actual full cast right now. Ashley Eckstein played Ahsoka Tano. She's not coming back.
I think they said the gal from what's her name? Playing Ahsoka.
Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan, Lord Thoth, thank you. Bo-Katan, yes. She's going to be playing Bo-Katan. And she was the right hand of Vizsla. That was his name. In Death Watch. All in all, I would probably give it a little higher than a 6, the whole series, 6.5. It definitely better than the entire sequel trilogy to me.
As a whole, probably 6.5. There's some of them, like you said, The Prisoner and a few others really brought it down. And,
Yeah.
But for a whole, I would say that. But the last two, I'm going to give both of them 7.5 to 8s because like I said, the last two really shined in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked the first couple of episodes, and I really, really enjoyed the last two. Rosario Dawson, yes, is playing Ahsoka Tano.
Rosario, that's who I was trying to think of. I can never remember her name for some reason.
And there were rumors that Ashley Eckstein was going to come back for the voice, but I really doubt they're going to do that. I really don't think they're going to do that. I think they should have had Ashley Eckstein come in and actually play her. But they're going to get Rosario Dawson, and that is their choice to do that. Having Katie Sackhoff come in and play Bo-Katan, I don't know why they couldn't get Ashley Eckstein to come in and play Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, I love me some KT Sackhoff.
Yeah. So that is it for the first season of The Mandalorian. We will be back next week, next Friday. I will make my glorious return since I'm going to miss Thursday. Me and Dave Bob will cover the first episode. I'm going to watch that on the road. That'll be interesting.
Hope you have good cell coverage.
Yeah, I do. I've got a good system, and I should have Wi-Fi wherever I'm at. So broadcasting should not be a problem. I'll just take my headset with me and hook that right up to my phone, and we will go live that way. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out, and thank you to Reina Creole and Dave Bob. Absolutely love you too. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the first episode. I really can't.
I thank you for having me on, and we'll see you next week.
Guys, everybody have a great weekend. We have got a members hangout, a YouTube members hangout coming up at 4 p.m. We got the Valkyries coming up at 7 p.m. for apparently some spooky stories and pillow fights. Everybody take care. Have a great one. And we will catch you guys next week. fighting like a boss. T-Rex. No one tosses a dwarf. New outro on the way Monday. Everyone, have a great weekend. Take care, everybody.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.